Hey, we're back. Guess what? We're telling a story, and today we've got a good one. We've got a story about a young, little, soon-to-be seer of God, Samuel. Harvey's going to be playing Samuel. I'll be playing Eli, and we'll see who gets to play voice of God. We don't know. But it's a good story about this call and the challenges of telling someone the truth. So, are you ready, Harv? Go team.
Go team.
Now, the boy Samuel was ministering to the Lord under Eli. He was like his assistant. The word of the Lord was rare in those days. Visions were not widespread. At that time, Eli, whose eyesight had begun to grow dim so he could not see, was lying down in his room. The lamp of God had not yet gone out, and Samuel was lying down in the temple of the Lord, where the ark of God was. Then the Lord called, "Samuel, Samuel." And he said, "Here I am." And he ran to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me." He said, "I did not call you. Lie down again." So he went and he laid down. The Lord called again, "Samuel, Samuel." So Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me." He said, "I did not call you, my son. Lie down again." Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord, and the word of the Lord had not yet been revealed to him. So the Lord called Samuel again, a third time, and he got up and he went to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me." And Eli perceived that the Lord was calling the boy. Therefore Eli said to Samuel, "Go, lie down, and if he calls you, you shall say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" So Samuel went to lay down in his place. Now the Lord came and stood there, calling as before, "Samuel, Samuel." And Samuel said, "Speak, for your servant is listening." And that's what happened. Actually, more than that happened, because the reading actually doesn't say what happens after that. You're probably wondering, well, what did God say? Actually, that's kind of part of our message today, is that this is called the call of Samuel, the beginning of him recognizing he could hear from God, see God's will. His first message is actually a really tough teaching for his, master who he serves, Eli. God had a harsh word to say to the people of Israel because of Eli's children and the way they were behaving. God said, "Hey, you have to tell Eli something really tough, that his children have made some mistakes and some tough times are coming for you." And yeesh, that sounds rough. But then imagine Samuel now has to say, okay, because after that, guess what happens? In the morning, they wake up and they're like, "Hey, what did God say?" And what would you say to Eli, the person who looks after you, the person who's been training you, the person you've been serving? And he goes, "Hey, what did God say?" And you have to give him bad news, that God's not happy right now, that your sons have made these mistakes. You have to do something about it, or it'll hurt other people. That's a tough question. Something for all of us to think about, on how sometimes when we're doing something wrong, or we've made a mistake, or we've hurt somebody, sometimes the truth can really hurt. I know I'd prefer, I've made a mistake, nobody think about it again, right? Well, I have to fix it. I have to fix my mistake. And sometimes that means being honest that I have made a mistake. Saying to somebody that I'm sorry, talking to somebody and saying, I've made a mistake and I have to own that mistake. And I was wrong to do this, or it's just tough. Telling the truth is really, really hard sometimes, especially when you know it's going to make someone upset. We deal with that all the time. You parents probably deal with it at work. We're dealing with it in how we govern as a community. Sometimes someone has said, I believe this, and someone says, I'm sorry, that's just not what it is. And they say, well, I believe it. And it's like, well, what if it's not true? What if you've made a mistake? And that's really hard. I remember when I was little, when I was a kid in school, I had this math problem that I was just so mad at because I looked at the back of the book to check my answer and I was wrong. And I went, no, I'm not. I know what I've done. And I showed it to a friend and they're like, that's not the answer, but I don't see where, it is strange, but that's not it. And I go, the book's wrong. He goes, well, I got it. And I go, how? And I looked at it and I realized I had copied the problem wrong. I had made a mistake. That's why I kept coming to the wrong answer. I'd missed something. I had totally missed the first step. I had operated from a place that was not correct. And that's why I came to the wrong conclusion. And I was so frustrated. It was really frustrating to find out I'd done that wrong. But copying the problem down again, I got the right answer. I knew how to do it. It was fine. But what if I would have just gone, no, it doesn't matter. I still want it to be right because I just copied it wrong, but I still answered the question right. Sure, but that wasn't the answer. That wasn't even the question asked. It's tough to talk about the truth sometimes. It's tough to tell the truth sometimes, especially when you know it's going to embarrass you or it's going to make somebody mad. But truth is really, really important. The truth, the life, the way, it's Jesus. Jesus has no lies to tell. That truth is good. That peace is the point. That love can change the world. These are hard to believe sometimes, and when we're really frustrated, we don't want to hear it, but the truth is, they are. It's true. Love is what's going to drive out anger. Love's what's going to drive out hatred. Speaking the truth is going to restore relationships and bring communities back together when we do the hard work of truth telling. Truth telling is really important. So I want you to think about that this week, of maybe some challenging times where you've had a hard time maybe hearing the truth or hearing something that frustrates you, or telling the truth, because truth telling is critical. Okay? So go in peace, love and serve the Lord, listen for truth even when it's hard to hear, and tell the truth even when it's hard to say. Go in peace.